Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'll try to make it very brief because I have been told that I should be very brief. First, I will preface myself by stating that the views and thoughts that I will be sharing with you tonight will be of my own and do not in any way present the opinions of the Harvard University or the program that I run at Harvard. In the year 2000, Dr. Yahya was at Harvard Forum on Islamic Finance, and he expressed his Lariba's vision to help Muslims fulfill their investment and banking needs in America without riba. So it was the vision bind Muslim communities by offering investment and financing services as a tool for implementing Islamic values. So this vision expressed by Dr. Yahya is a comprehensive one. I believe it is valid. As well, as we all know that the industry has expanded at a phenomenal rate. More Sharia-compliant products have been developed and offered. A greater number of Muslims are becoming aware of this field as well as the sector. For first and foremost, an area that needs some attention is the cooperation and communication among the Islamic financial institutions in the United States. So while the industry grows, there remains a gap that divides the Islamic financial institution, inhibits the successful growth of the industry. So one of the most immediate consequences faced by this lack of cooperation is the inability to establish a more standardized regulatory regime. We at Harvard University conducted a workshop, an interactive workshop, a round table, a few months ago about bringing Islamic financial institutions closer to each other so that their voice could be heard collectively by regulators. So we felt that there was a tremendous need for communication between the industry leaders and regulators. To meet that need, we wanted to encourage productive dialogue. In the past few years, we have seen reasonable interest in the part of the U.S. Treasury Department, which just Dr. Yahya has outlined to you that we have been working with them, and the Federal Reserve banks, a number of Federal Reserve banks and the FDICs and the state supervisory agencies. We need to work with them to create a better understanding and remove misconception about the Islamic banking. In fact, the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis has taken a lead to host a follow-up workshop, which is going to be a round table again, to increase the understanding of this unique line of business on October 4th. To create a better understanding, they also need to pay attention to educating both Muslims and non-Muslims on matters relating to riba and Islamic finance. In the absence of these unnecessary ideas and conflicts, especially elements of Islamic phobia can be attributed to the industry. This campaign is more important and can be carried out with the mutual cooperation and coordination of the institutions. As another remarks about the Sharia boards, I thought that it's vital to have a central one to bring the uniformity and to encourage the other conventional institutions to enter the market, having a centralized Sharia board. Perhaps some larger Muslim organizations such as ISNA or ICNA would be willing to cooperate with Islamic financial institutions to begin a central Sharia board. But this does not mean that the institution should be mandated to seek only certain scholars. We continually need new Islamic legal scholars who can contribute to the legal aspects of Islamic finance. As for the full-fledged Islamic bank, I'm sure a number of us will be interested in seeing in the United States. Can we learn from the experience of the Islamic Bank of Britain? I believe so. But before we can envision such a long stride, we have plenty of intermediate steps to make. As for the market potential or opportunities, there is no doubt that the demand for Islamic finance in terms of the products and services from Muslims has been increasing. It would be a fundamental misunderstanding, like it was said in the video also of Islam, to believe that this is exclusively for Muslims. As institutions in Malaysia have shown, Islamic finance can be for the benefit of Muslims and non-Muslims alike. The entire concept of Islamic banking is based on justice and fairness and equality, as well as protecting the environment and maintaining the social values. At the end, I would like to congratulate the Islamic Financial Institution in the US for taking a bold step in confronting the media to answer the queries raised by various outlets. There's no doubt that this has helped in creating better understanding of Islamic finance. With this, I conclude my brief presentation. I thank you for your patience and thank Lariba for inviting me. May God Almighty bless the humanity. Wassalamu alaikum.